Most people build automations and create these massive templates that don't actually move the business forward and things that you genuinely need. You have 56-step automations that don't work, that will break at every chance that you get, and also will not impact your business because you're currently not at the stage where you actually need them. Over the last few months, I've been working with clients more to bring automations into their own businesses. And I'm going to share with you today some of the best ones that I believe that have helped my clients move forward the most, and ones that you could potentially replicate for yourself or your team that also don't take months to set up and needing 60 different tools to actually work. If you're also wanting to learn how to scale your business further through systems themselves, then join my newsletter down below. It's the first link in the description and you can see how you can do it too. Automation and AI has become more and more talked about over the last few months. I mean, I'm even talking about it more and implementing it into my business. But the problem that I keep seeing on Instagram and on LinkedIn and even on YouTube is people are creating these insane videos about things that every business owner needs, or sell this for £5,000. Yet at the end of the day, the things that they are doing, there are one, not something that you would automate right away, or two, something you would need a massive team for actually getting the benefit out of it. Don't even get me started on like the 65-step ones that are targeted towards new business owners that they should not even be looking at in the first few years of their business to actually gain the skills necessary to provide value that they're looking for. What I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to run through 4 different automations that I believe have been the most powerful for my clients and things that I've implemented myself that have actually helped me move the business forward or helped them solve an actual problem that they have that I see happening on quite a consistent basis. First one that we're going to look at is the onboarding, and this is what I call the sale after the sale. I've already created a few videos on the onboarding itself, but I think it's really important to actually look at and figure out how you can speed up this process in a way that's automated but still personable. The problem people have with onboarding is that it's usually a unique experience for every new client, meaning that when someone comes in, flounder, and then you try to sign them up in the best way that you can. It can work in the beginning, but as you start to scale, you want to make sure things become consistently good. And that means knowing your client, knowing what they're paying for, and then providing them with the steps that they need in order to actually get started with you. A few different ones that I've implemented for clients that have been the most successful. First one, not being so automated, but it's a video series to actually help people get started with working with you. So this is covering 5 different topics of welcoming to the program, what to expect next, how to be a great client, tools and setup, and then what is next. This is giving the client the chance to actually see what's going on and what they're paying for. Where the automations come into play with this is essentially setting up the automation in something like a Stripe or an invoice platform where you're watching for that invoice to be paid for an email to then be sent of all this onboarding information. You could be giving them the videos to watch, and then after the videos have been watched, you can send them to a calendar link automatically, which is going to book it into your calendar. That gives you that opportunity to standardize the process, but still make it personable. At the end of the day, if you can't create a video of what you should expect when you buy from me, then you're not going to have something that is actually going to be able to scale. You want to figure out a way to standardize that process, but still keeping it personable. On the screen, these are just 2 examples that you could run with. One, actually looking for a record updating, essentially when someone is to sign with you, and then you're sending a message to your Slack channel to basically say, hey, we've got someone that's signed as a client, and then we're going down 2 different routes. Now, you don't actually have to go down 2 different routes for this, but you can then send an email to them, like buzzing to have you here, can't wait to get started, and then creating that database in Notion. You would separate these routes if you had different services that offer different pricing, and you would basically use the router to filter what type of pricing is what and what people are actually needing to do. Where we can take this a step further is actually waiting for specific responses, maybe even for invoices or for our sales calls. So as you're taking those sales calls, you're filling in a form that's then going to help you create a Panda doc, and inside that Panda doc is going to download the document itself once the template's been created, and sending that email to them basically saying, here's the document, here's the proposal, you can pay it whenever you want. And this is where we can build into that onboarding where it becomes far more automated, but it's actually something that's still really powerful for what we're wanting to do. The onboarding one is probably one that I would suggest focusing on in the beginning, because I've had the most feedback from clients that this has been such a big impact for them, for their business, for their clients, with who they're working with. So when you're able to actually do that well, your clients will notice it. I usually call it the sale after the sale, and I've got another video that I shot directly related to onboarding and how to fix it for your own coaching business. It's really important to understand how you fix that now, so that when you do get to automations, this becomes better. Something people tend to forget about too is the automations themselves don't actually work if the manual effort doesn't work as well. You shouldn't start with automation, you start with being able to do it really well and getting it to a point that it can then be automated to come off your hands. Automation from the start is only going to work as good as the person doing it. So you need to make sure that it's actually flowing well and that you can sort it yourself. The second one that we're going to talk about, one that I've been asked more of recently for clients, and that's a two-way sync for a CRM. When you're working with someone or when you're filling in a CRM, you could potentially have that on a separate platform. You could be taking all the information into something like Pipedrive or High Level or even HubSpot if you're using something like that. When it comes to those platforms, when someone then is going to slowly become a client, you're not going to hold all your information in that place anymore. You're going to naturally become a part of somewhere else. So as an example, if someone's having their CRM in High Level, if they're maybe having calls with them, taking notes on them and having the team work around the tasks that they need to do for that client, they could then pull that into something like ClickUp or Notion for their project management. As of recently, I've been doing a lot more of two-way syncs for the CRM in both of them so that they can auto-update each other and that you don't actually have to worry about duplication of the entries or duplication of actually updating them. I'll show you what I mean so you can kind of see it in a little bit more action. If we look at this one, for example, you're seeing it's watching for a specific webhook in High Level. When that happens in High Level, we're essentially taking that information from the CRM as the change in the pipeline. We're then searching inside of Notion as, do we actually have this particular contact ID that we're looking for? And then we're using a router to essentially create filters of selecting if the pipeline stage is at the particular stage that we're looking for. This is really powerful for people who are maybe wanting to keep track on different platforms and they're wanting other team members to have access to those different things. And where I think the biggest power comes from it is that duplication of entries. A lot of the people that have come to me over the last few months have been talking about keeping certain clients in one area or certain people in their pipeline in one area. So not wanting to keep everything in Pipedrive or not wanting to keep everything in High Level, but wanting to transfer it to Notion is where they're hosting their clients when they do sign. So once we reach a certain threshold, that's when you would be pinging it into Notion. One of the clients, as an example, when we have been booking a meeting with that client, that's when they would go into Notion as someone in the CRM. And it means from that point on, the talking between High Level and Notion is going to be the same. So if you change one of the pipeline stages to one area, it's going to do the same in Notion. It's not something that can be the most groundbreaking thing in the world, but it's actually something that has been working really well and something I've been asked about on quite a consistent basis. So I'm guessing it's going to be an area that some of you struggle with too. If you're wanting to build something like this, let me know in the comments and I'll show you exactly how I done it and breaking it all down step by step so that you can build it yourself. If you're also interested in scaling your business through systems, then hit the subscribe button as I'll be doing more videos on this and helping you grow through the likes of automation. A few of the ones I'm not going to touch on in this video are things more like AI, and that's because I think they deserve a whole video for themselves when it comes to actually implementing AI properly into your business. What I mean by properly is linking things like Perplexity or ChatGPT directly to agents that you're wanting to create. So being able to use MCPs or agents where necessary to actually answer or do specific things for you inside of your business. Connecting all of these different apps can be really, really powerful. For now, we're going to stick more directly with automations themselves and how they benefit you as you move forward. This leads me on to the next one that I'm going to cover, and that's things like team messaging. Most of you either be using things like Slack or maybe Microsoft Teams, maybe WhatsApp as well. The three of these can be used inside of automations, and they can be really powerful to do. Saw the automation I was showing earlier on of when a client signs up, it sends a direct message to your Slack team basically saying, hey, this client signed up, and that can kickstart a bunch of different tasks. You know, you can have different automations inside of your Slack to actually watch for specific messages or specific emojis to then take it to that next level. So if you're on a team with different people, you can ping notifications to your Airtable, to your Notion, to your ClickUps, Asanas, all to actually work for you and keep everyone up to date. The biggest thing is visibility in business, and that's kind of what we're looking for with this. So the more visibility you can create, the better it can become. The final one we're going to cover today is one that probably the majority have used at least once in your life, and that's Excel or Google Sheets. Now, Excel is amazing at what it does. It is predominantly focused for usage and actually using formulas with a multitude of things. But some people actually want that data collated and then placed into somewhere else, like a home base that they are using. This means watching for specific rows to be made or waiting for specific times of the day, then ping information into your own dashboard so you can see a glimpse of what's going on. Platforms like ClickUp and Airtable don't actually work on the cell by cell basis. Therefore, doing things like formulas and the control that you have in Sheets is just way better than what these platforms can do. Taking that information and actually putting it into your own dashboard mean that you can just see things at a glance and not have to worry about it too much, especially if you've delegated it to someone else. Sheets have fantastic integrations with any automation platform that you're using. Over the last few months, I've done things related to the quantities of stock that people are using. I've done things with Google Ads and all the performance with SDRs and booking appointments. There's so many things that you do in Sheets and that people are comfortable at doing in Sheets, but can simply be pushed towards whatever platform that you use on a regular basis so that you can see at a quick glance what's actually going on and how you're moving forward with that. That's probably the most powerful area that I've found when people are wanting to use Sheets still and stick with it. If they're tracking all of their numbers on there and they're wanting to see that dashboard view, you could simply create a database inside of wherever you host your actual business and ping the totals or the summaries from Sheets into that space. That can give you an overview of what's going on every single day, and the automation just consistently runs as that's what it's looking for. This means you still host that information on Sheets, but you're then able to see it at a glance and not have to worry about it too much on whatever platform that you're using. And it's something that I've found for a lot of clients has completely changed their mindset as to how that's actually going to work. You no longer need to think about the separation that they're creating, but as long as things are getting done and they're able to see it at a glance, they don't have to think about it as much. Systems as a whole is what will transform your business to become more successful, be more profitable, and save you more time. But more often than not, we don't think about it in that sense, and we think far too much on just signing more and more and more and more clients. That's great up until a point where you realize you have to provide the service that you're actually looking for and also maintain the clients that you're signing. It's far easier to retain a client and earn more money through an upsell than it is to sign more and more and more clients. And if your reputation goes down the drain, those clients coming in will probably dry up and you will have to switch businesses. We want to make sure that we're setting up automations to do things that actually benefit ourselves, our clients, or the team that's working underneath us. If you want to see some builds specifically, then let me know, as I'm more than happy to actually showcase some of these builds themselves and take you through the errors that I've been running into. Because at the end of the day, I'm learning, and automation can be a pain when it comes to that. All of these automations I've personally inputted into clients' businesses over the last few months, and all of them have seen a positive return on what it's actually been able to do and clearing their mind space on what they're working on. If you're wanting to scale your business further with systems, then click that first link in the description and join the newsletter to help you do that. And I know the video on the screen right now will be something you'll love to watch. I'll see you there.